All right, what is going on today, guys? We are doing my first rebuild on the channel. No, this is not a realistic rebuild. We will have some of those realistic rebuilds if you guys want to see them. Whenever the IRL draft class gets uploaded, we'll only be using the first year draft class for those. But we're going to hop into this rebuild. This is an interesting one. This is the team that is most local to me, and this is who we are starting out with. No, I will not be playing games in this rebuild. We are going to have a full franchise series. If that interests you, please consider subscribing to the channel. But this is going to be a sim style rebuild where we just try and build the best team, win a Super Bowl. And it's a very interesting team. Are the Titans rebuilding? Are they just reloading? Are they in win now mode? Are they about to blow it up? I don't know what the Titans are going to do, to be honest. Like I said, I'm very local to the Titans and I've got a lot of Titans fan friends. And they're kind of in the same thought process that I am, where we just don't really know what the Titans are about to do. Because they have talent in certain areas, but they're missing receivers. Who's the quarterback? I mean, they don't really know what's going on. So that is for me, the new general manager of the Titans, to decide. So we're going to hop into this. We're going to do a little lineup overview, and then we're going to make some trades. Definitely need to get some of these guys off the team, get an infusion of some new talent. So let's go and hop into the lineup overview. All right, so here we are at the lineup overview. And it's an interesting team, to say the least. And what I'm heavily going to focus on in this rebuild is the quarterback position. So you've heard the term when it comes to college football, if you've got two quarterbacks, you've got none. What happens when you have three quarterbacks? Because the Tennessee Titans have three quarterbacks that are legitimate consideration to be starters for this team moving forward. Now, Ryan Tannehill, he's obviously about 35 years old. He's on his last legs with the Titans. One of these two guys is going to be the guy moving forward. And I think we're going to try and build off of Will Levis. But if there is a quarterback available, I'm not going to hesitate to pull the trigger and draft him. Because Will Levis, while I do think is probably the actual succession plan for the Tennessee Titans, and overall looks pretty good in the game, I don't know how he's going to develop and how he's going to play at a 69 overall. Now, if he would have got drafted in the first round and then maybe we would have juiced him a little bit, he might have been a better overall and more to work with and more to develop upon. But again, I won't hesitate to pull the trigger and get another quarterback, but if there's not one there, I don't have a problem moving forward with Will Levis. This isn't exactly like a Will Levis rebuild. We'll probably do a Will Levis career sim, a Anthony Richardson career sim. Like the top prospects, we'll probably do career sim videos of those guys as well. There's a ton of content I want to make for this game. So if things like that interest you, as well as NCAA, which we will also have, please, like I said in the intro, consider subscribing to the channel. I would greatly appreciate it. We're trying to grow this channel like I did my MLB channel, which will also be linked down in the description. But the important stuff, which you want to worry about, the actual video itself. Back to the Tennessee Titans. So offensive line needs a lot of work, to be honest. You've got Nicholas Petit-Frere, who could be okay. You got Dylan Radunz, who could develop. You got Aaron Brewer. He's not bad, but he's not great. Peter Skoronsky, who I do think could literally be like a Zach Martin level guard over a period of time. So that is a foundational piece of the offensive line, and it's really the only one that I wouldn't consider just moving off of. Because Andre Dillard, while he's going to be an okay tackle for the Titans in real life, I feel like the Titans offensive line is always just a bunch of maulers in the run game, and they fit the identity of the city, and they fit the identity of the team. While that's a thing, I think Andre Dillard will fit that, but Madden doesn't have an identity of the city engine in the game, so the whole offensive line really needs to be upgraded. If there's any way we can build upon some of these guys, like Peter Skoronsky will be here for the entire duration of the rebuild, maybe Dylan Radunz, but if we can get better, I'm not going to be scared to get better. Over to the tight end position, the Titans had a just rich group of tight ends there for a minute. I mean, they had Chig Okonkwo, they had Anthony Ferkser. Well, they have Chig Okonkwo now, but they had Anthony Ferkser, they had Jonnu Smith, they had Delanie Walker. Like, this team's no stranger to having a good tight end, and I'm probably going to try and find the next Delanie Walker. Maybe that is Chig Okonkwo. He's only, what, 24, 25 years old? Yeah, 23 even. 23 years old, out of Maryland, 6'3", 240. Kind of fits the Delanie Walker mold. He's not as good of a blocker as Delanie Walker. I will go ahead and make that very clear. Delanie Walker could block his heart out. Now, moving to the wide receiver room, it's an interesting group. This is where I say it gets weird with the Titans, because are they rebuilding? Are they reloading? Are they blowing it up? What are they doing? Because they signed DeAndre Hopkins. They signed Nuke himself, and he is a win now kind of a player. And I think for the first season, we're definitely going to try and win now. There is some pieces I'm going to move off of course. I'm going to try and get another receiver in the room because we got Traylon Burks. He's pretty young, and I think he's pretty talented, and I think he'll develop. But other than that, there's not a lot doing in the receiver room. I do think Colton Dowell is a fun one. Colton Dowell, his fun little fact about Colton Dowell, his mom taught me in middle school, 6th grade English. So that was pretty cool. He's from right around here in the Nashville area. And then moving on to the running back position, I just thought that was a fun little thing about Colton Dowell. So maybe we'll try and keep him around, get him to develop or something. I don't know. I'm not going to be biased to trying to get that to happen. But maybe we'll trade for him in another franchise where I'm playing the games. Stay tuned for things like that. But the running back position, I feel like is locked up for a few years guaranteed because you got Derrick Henry out here. He's 29. We're going to try and win a Super Bowl with Derrick Henry on the team. I did record this rebuild the other day, like 2 days ago, and it was literally 8 hours of failure. So we are trying it again. So you got to respect the dedication. But Derrick Henry ended up retiring after like 2 seasons, which I feel like isn't normal, but I feel like the team went downhill. So that's why he retired. I don't know. We're going to try and win a Super Bowl with Derrick Henry on the roster, though. Tajay Spears out of Tulane. I think this is a really good pick as a change of pace back from Derrick Henry. He's, he can catch the ball a little bit, but he's more of the lightning to Derrick Henry's thunder. That is going to be the offense, though. While I do think it is a pretty good offense, the defense is where I think things get a little bit more interesting because they have this weird collection of corners where I'm like, what are they really doing? Because they kind of just drafted the same guy over and over and over again, like Elijah Molden, Caleb Farley, Christian Fulton. Now, I think Roger McCreary is an absolute stud, and I think he's a lot different than those guys. But the first 3 that I mentioned are kind of the same guy in a lot of ways. So I don't really know what they're doing there. They got Sean Murphy-Bunting on a 1-year deal, who I'm probably going to consider moving. Like, if guys only have a year, maybe 2 years on their contract, I'm going to consider moving them because I'm trying to free up money. We're trying to go out and make bigger pushes in free agency and the draft to get this team as good as possible in as quick of a time frame as possible. The defensive line, Thierry Tart, Danico Autry are both, they can absolutely go. Arden Key can go. Aziz Al-Shair, I would like to keep around. I do think he's a pretty good linebacker. Amani Hooker, I think, is pretty solid. He's like 24 years old, a solid safety. Kevin Byard, it was rumored he was going to be traded in real life, and we might consider the idea of doing that. He's like 31, 32 years old. No, he's 30. Fun fact, I met Kevin Byard when I was working at Dunkin' Donuts in high school. He came through the drive-thru. Pretty cool experience. He went to MTSU. This was when he was with the Titans, though, but before he became what is known as Kevin Byard, like the top-end safety of the league. But there's a little lineup overview. We are going to hop right into the trades and see what we can get done. First things first, we're going to try and move off of Ryan Tannehill and then probably Danico Autry and Thierry Tart. The only locked in guys I don't want to get rid of are going to be Harold Landry, Jeff Simmons, Derrick Henry, Skoronski, and probably D-Hop. D-Hop might be a year 2 trade piece because he's going to regress a little bit, but I think he'll be good enough for year 1 that we can be a competitive team. But I'll update you guys once I find any trades. It's going to be an interesting thing trying to get rid of some hefty contracts like Ryan Tannehill. So I will update you guys with any trades that I make. All right, so the first trade that we're going to be getting done is going to be Ryan Tannehill is headed to the New England Patriots. I don't know if he's going to start up there over Mac Jones or what that plan is, but we were able to get a 3rd-round pick this year out of Ryan Tannehill. So honestly, I don't have any complaints about this one. Okay, so we have used the trade finder for just a second to test something out, and it's looking like we can get Tevin Jenkins and a 7th-round pick next year for Danico Autry, who is just a cap dump, and Thierry Tart is somebody I just don't see us re-signing, to be honest. He's 26, and I mean, he's an all right player, like decent development trait. I just don't really see him as somebody that we're going to keep for the long-term future of this team. I think with drafting in this game, you can get better defensive tackles, and he's going to be wanting a good bit of money for what he does. Whereas Tevin Jenkins, he's going to have 2 more years on that contract, and we need offensive line help, and Tevin Jenkins is going to slot right in at either left tackle or right guard. And I think that's going to be a huge upgrade for our offensive line. So I'm going to go and make this trade. It's basically 2 cap dumps for a cheap offensive lineman that we honestly really need. So I'm not mad at that trade at all. We are not done trading yet. There's a few more guys that I want to be able to move. We've been able to get rid of Tannehill and Thierry and Danico Autry so far. All right, with our next trade, we are making a trade with the Denver Broncos, and we're sending Christian Fulton, who I considered the idea of re-signing, but I think the way that the cornerback room is set up, we don't really need Christian Fulton. He might have been the wrong guy to trade. Probably should have traded Sean Murphy-Bunting. We might still trade Sean Murphy-Bunting because we're going to have the ability to get a hold of some better talents on this team. So we'll see where we head with that, but we did get a 3rd round pick. We're kind of stacking up on the 3rd round pick department right now. We also got rid of Chris Moore. I mean, Titans fans, are you going to miss Chris Moore? Probably not. Okay, so with probably the final trade we're going to make before starting this season, I had to literally fight for, what was that, 15 minutes with the New York Jets to be able to get this done. So we're moving a 2026 2nd round pick, a 7th round pick this year, and a 7th round pick in 2026, as well as Andre Dillard. He was not a part of the future plan. Arden Key, who we have replaced in this trade. Ignore the left end tag for Jermaine Johnson. He is not a left end. He is going to be playing left outside linebacker. He is going to be rushing the passer alongside Harold Landry. So we have a locked up pass rush duo for the duration of this rebuild, as well as we moved Kevin Byard. Like I said, it's been rumored they might trade him in real life. He's only got 2 years left on his deal, and getting a 1st round pick and what could be one of the better edge rushers in the league in the future, I think was a pretty good deal. It looks like we gave up a lot, having to use all 6 trade slots, but I don't really feel like we gave up anything major because we were just kind of giving up on positions we were already going to upgrade upon anyways. So I'm going to move some positions around, and I'm going to give you guys a final look at the lineup before we head into the season, and I will see you guys at the midseason mark. All right, so this is going to be a final look at the lineup before we head into the season. Will Levis is going to be the starting quarterback for this season. Dylan Raduns, he's going to, stay at right guard. Tevin Jenkins, I moved him over to left tackle. We're going to see how he does at left tackle. Maybe we have a bookend. Hopefully, probably not. I don't know. We'll see. Jermaine Johnson moved back to left outside linebacker. I think that should be his position anyways. I mean, he's 262. He can kind of play in that 3-4 defensive end role, but 85 speed, good block shed, decent power and finesse. I think he's more of a true edge rusher than anything. So that's where we got him thrown at right now. And that's how the lineup's looking. I will see you guys at the midseason mark. I'm going to set up some scouts, and we're going to draft some studs this year. We got 2 first-round picks, 1 from the Jets. It's probably not going to be the highest overall pick, considering we gave them Kevin Byard, and they have Aaron Rodgers, but we shall see. All right, so here we are at the midseason mark. We are 2-4 headed into the midseason, kind of about where I thought we would be. Let's go over stats for us at the midseason mark. The Falcons, by the way, were 7-0, so that's exciting. Go Bijan, hook 'em horns. I am a Texas fan, if anyone didn't know. It's kind of a new channel, so I don't really expect a lot of people watching this video to know, but I am a Texas Longhorns fan. Derrick Henry is absolutely torching the entire league. Pretty standard stuff. Kyle Phillips is our 2nd highest receiver. That is pretty interesting stuff. But DeAndre Hopkins is leading the team in receiving. Tevin Jenkins is giving up almost a sack a game, so that's good stuff. Defensively, few tackles in there. Tackles for loss. Jeff Simmons is getting in there. Harold Landry, 4.5 sacks. That's not even Jermaine Johnson. That's Jaleel Johnson. Where's Jermaine Johnson? Jermaine Johnson is just not playing. All right, so I need to edit some things because he is literally not touching the field. We don't have a single interception. We've not picked off a single pass for the entire season. We haven't forced a fumble, and I'm going to assume we probably don't have a defensive touchdown either. So defense clearly needs some work. Offense, we seem like we're doing okay. It's kind of the flip side of what happened the first time I did this thing. So we've made it to the midseason mark, as you guys obviously saw, but I forgot to show you that we are going to re-sign some players. We're going to give Derrick Henry a 4-year contract. I know that's kind of a lengthy period of time for his age, but we're going to bring Derrick Henry back, as well as Azeez Al-Shaair. He doesn't really want a lot of money for 3 years. That will work for me. Sean Murphy-Bunting, he was our highest overall corner, and he's going to continue to be that for a very cheap deal if he will sign it. And he will. After that, though, I don't really see us picking up any contracts other than when we can accept the 5th-year option of Caleb Farley. I do intend to do that. But other than that, there really wasn't much going on in the contracts. Like I said, there was just a few interesting guys. We did end up upsetting the Atlanta Falcons. They were 7-0. Now they're 7-1. Let's go Titans, baby. All right, just like that, we have made it to the postseason, and we're participating. I don't know really what this team did to turn it around. They started out 2-5 to make a wild card berth. I mean, I'm here for it. Will Levis threw about 3,600 yards, 27 touchdowns, 19 interceptions. Overall, not a bad season for Will Levis. Again, though, if there is a better quarterback, I will not hesitate to upgrade. Derrick Henry, 1,600 yards, 10 touchdowns. Overall, pretty good season. Kyle Phillips. Kyle Phillips with 1,100 yards. What overall is Kyle Phillips? He's a 72 overall, and he was the best receiver on the team. You know what? Kyle Phillips, kind of guy you'd let your sister date. You know, sneaky, athletic. You know, he's gritty, high motor kind of guy, you know. But he was making plays for the Titans this year, I guess. So maybe we have our slot receiver figured out in Kyle Phillips. I'll upgrade that just a minute. That just cracks me up. He had 1,000 yards, 10 touchdowns. D-Hop had 9 touchdowns. Traylon Burks only had 4. Chigo Okonkwo didn't really get involved. Derrick Henry got involved a little bit in the passing game with about 300 yards. Tevin Jenkins was a revolving door, so that is pretty cool. I'm glad I put him there. Harold Landry had 18 tackles for loss, 8.5 sacks for him as well. Jeffrey Simmons, 12 tackles for loss. Jaleel Johnson, 11 tackles for loss. Jermaine Johnson, once we actually put him as our rush left in, got 10 tackles for loss, only half a sack though. It seems all the sacks went to Jeff Simmons and Harold Landry, which you'd kind of expect, honestly. Caleb Farley, in the year where we were going to pick up his 5th-year contract, got 2 interceptions. He had a pretty solid season. Ben Neiman had 1 pick. Jermaine Johnson had a pick. I don't love that as an edge rusher. I mean, there's freakish circumstances to where that it can happen. Jeffrey Simmons forced a fumble, and there was no defensive touchdowns on the season. So we are going to see if we can win a playoff game. That sounds ridiculous to say. I didn't think this team was going to be playoff caliber, but if we're playoff caliber this year, we might be Super Bowl caliber next year. Will Levis is up to a 72 overall as well, so that's pretty cool. We're just going to simulate this game. It's against the Baltimore Ravens. I don't really think we're going to win, but this is an old school rivalry. Titans-Ravens playing back in the early 2000s. Eddie George, Ray Lewis, all of those guys on the field. And we're going to win that game. And then another old school style rivalry, the Titans and the Bills right here. I wouldn't call it a rivalry, but it was an old school playoff matchup that happened right when the Titans moved to Tennessee and they had that dog in them, and then they just kind of disappeared after that. But let's see if we can manage to beat the Buffalo Bills right here. That'd be huge in year 1 to make it to the conference championship. This would be very fitting for the Tennessee Titans, just an overachieving team. And we are not going to. We're going to get absolutely smashed by Josh Allen and his Buffalo Bills. Let's check out the playoff bracket. Let's see who is still in this thing. I wonder who they're playing in the AFC Championship. I don't think it's going to be the Colts. It is the Raiders. So the Colts got knocked out first round, but the Raiders beat the Bengals with Jimmy Garoppolo, I guess. Cowboys 49ers. There's another old school rivalry back in the playoffs. Back in the 90s, it was pretty much whoever won that game won the Super Bowl. It was either going to be the Cowboys or the 49ers. They went back and forth there for a while. And then one team disappeared into irrelevancy, and the 49ers have, had a resurgence and become actually good at football again. You can guess which team kind of disappeared. But we are going to go ahead and sim to the Super Bowl, see who's playing in the Super Bowl, see who wins Super Bowl MVP, who wins the Super Bowl, all that kind of fun stuff. It's going to be the Dallas Cowboys versus the Raiders. The 2 worst fan bases besides the Philadelphia Eagles get to face off in the Super Bowl. Your Super Bowl champion is going to be this is a long loading screen. This is a pretty long loading screen. It is going to be the Dallas Cowboys, 35-3. All right, I'm glad that realism was a point of focus for EA when it comes to this game, because there's nothing like the Dallas Cowboys winning a Super Bowl. Also, ignore the Dallas Cowboys flag. back there. I'm actually an Atlanta Falcons fan. My family is Cowboys fans, and that is just something we hang up as a curtain. So don't take that to heart. I'm not actually a Cowboys fan. I don't dislike the Cowboys, but I'm not a Cowboys fan. 2023 season recap, on the other hand, let's go ahead and check this out. I'm going to be blocking a little bit of it, but I will read it off to you guys. Offensive Rookie of the Year, Bijan Robinson. Defensive Rookie of the Year, Will Anderson Jr. Defensive Player of the Year, Aaron Donald. And Cooper Kupp was Offensive Player of the Year. So the Rams, you know, they had some studs out there, that's for sure. Kyle Shanahan with Coach of the Year. And MVP was Jalen Hurts. Super Bowl MVP was Stephon Gilmore, so I guess he made some big moves there for the Dallas Cowboys. 6-time Super Bowl champion Dallas Cowboys. That's something I kind of really don't hope to see. But, you know, maybe it'll happen one day. I will update you guys once we make it to free agency, and then we're going to do a little bit of scouting, and then we're going to hit the draft and hopefully reload this team just enough to where we can make a further push in the playoffs. We went a lot further than I thought we were going to. All right, so I'm going through the draft class here, and I'm, you know, pondering the idea of a new quarterback. And Evan Brackens, I don't know if it's just me, looks absolutely insane. Elite throw power, good speed. He ran a 4.67. He's the most athletic quarterback, like well-rounded, probably by far. He's a very accurate, kind of waiting on that medium accuracy, but Evan Brackens might be a replacement where we're going to have to jump up in the top 5 to replace Will Levis. I mean, Will Levis, he seems fine, but when you can upgrade like that, you might have to. We've got Aaron Tyler here as well as interesting quarterback. I don't think he looks as good as Evan Brackens, but Evan Brackens looks very good. I could see him being one of the higher generated, like 79, 80 overall quarterbacks. Because, I mean, he's a good athlete to go with his ability of throwing the ball. We're going to look at the receiver position. I'll update you guys if I find anything interesting. Kind of bring the draft class to life a little bit by going over some of these guys. But I will update you if I find anything or with free agency. Holy shit. Okay, so we've got an interesting receiver right here, Greg Abbott. I feel like that's a name for somebody else. I don't know. I might look that up. But stats-wise, I mean, he looks okay. He can catch the ball really well. He's not much of a route runner, but he is a deep threat. And he's got 4.3 speed, and it's regarded as elite speed. This could be a very, very interesting guy to go after in the second round. Greg Abbott looks very nice. I like him better than these first-round receivers, honestly. Okay, so moving into free agency, we have an interesting thing in front of us. It's going to be Nick Bosa. I feel like I would be dumb to not go after him, right? I mean, he's a 99 overall. He doesn't totally fit the scheme in a 3-4, but I mean, we could make it work. I mean, he's almost 270 pounds. He would be a little light for the position, but I'm going to go after him. He doesn't exactly want to be here, and it's a lot of money to go after Nick Bosa, but I'm going to make the push. Hopefully we can obtain Nick Bosa. I don't know. He doesn't really want to come here, but we have the best offer for him. Could be interesting. Nick Bosa would be huge for this defense. That's like $30 million a year, though. That's my only issue with the deal, but if you're able to get Nick Bosa, I think you just kind of go out there and you got to do it. Okay, so this wasn't the most exciting free agency period in the world, but Terrence Steele, I feel like, fills a very, glaring position of need on the offensive line. And Nick Bosa, I just think you would be dumb to not go after him. We've got a bunch of money. We're still going to have $50 million left. We're going to evaluate this to see if we can maybe get lucky and get Nick Bosa as well as get Terrence Steele. We do get Nick Bosa. So Nick Bosa is the newest member of the Tennessee Titans. We are already building like a historically great defense at this point. We just need to stack out the cornerback room and we need to stack out the safety room. But Nick Bosa, Jeff Simmons, Jermaine Johnson, as well as Harold Landry, I don't know how much better you can really do on the defensive side of the ball. And it was a lot to spend, but I just don't think I could pass it up, to be honest. We had the money. We cleared the money with Tannehill and some other guys that we traded to make a signing like that. And I think that's going to be a signing that really changes the future outlook of this team. Also, I did notice Harold Landry has gone up dev. All right, so we've made it to the NFL draft, and I'm going to be honest, we're moving up to get a quarterback. So I looked at mock draft 5, which is pretty much about 99.9% accurate. Fun little fact for everybody. And we're going to try and move up to the 4th pick. I don't really know what it's going to take to get there, but we are going to try and get that pick. I will update you guys with any updates on if we get that pick or not. Okay, so that really wasn't as hard as I thought it was going to be. We traded our first round pick, not the Buccaneers first round, or not the Buccaneers, the Jets. The Jets first round pick was the 14th pick. So we still have 2 picks in the first round. 2 pretty decent picks in the first round at that. So we're picking at number 4 right now. I'm going to sim pick by pick. I don't think the Patriots would take a quarterback. I would be very surprised by that. The Lions, I could see taking a quarterback, but I just can't move up to number 2. The Texans, I know they're not going to take a quarterback, but I did have to jump in front of the Rams because the Rams 1000% will take a quarterback. Also, I just realized we traded the Jets pick and not our pick, but the quarterback that we are going to take is going to be Evan Brackens. We've got him 95% scouted. He is an incredibly athletic quarterback with elite throw power. This could be, like, depending on that medium accuracy, this could be almost a generational quarterback. He looks insane. He's 21 years old, out of Syracuse, 94 throw power, 83 speed, 91 acceleration. Evan Brackens is going to be the quarterback of the future, and that means we're going to move Will Levis. So losing out on that first round pick next year, probably not the biggest deal, because I guarantee we can trade and get another first round pick. All right, coming in at pick 25, which was our first round pick, I just realized we traded the Jets pick and not our pick. Not really a big deal because we still do have 2 first round picks, and we were able to move up and get the guy we wanted. Brian Gooden is still here. We know more about him. I don't know that it's as much of a position of need, but I know the athletic ability. I know that he is a first round talent. I know his ability to cover is pretty solid. I'm going to go ahead and take Brian Gooden, the corner out of Texas, 6'3", 194. He is normal development, which does actually hurt. But it's a position of need, and he might have the ability to play free safety. That's really why we took him there. But I'm going to take Spencer James right here. I think he could be pretty good for us. 77 speed, 85 strength. Like I said, pretty good athlete overall. I think Spencer James is going to be a pretty decent overall player. Could we have done better there? Possibly we could have. Moving into the third round, we're going to start knocking needs off the board here. I think we need another receiver. I think a receiver would definitely help us out. Although Kyle Phillips emerged last year, which I thought was interesting. Jonathan Neighbors having a zone coverage at 6'1", 240 does interest me. He's a pretty good athlete. We're going to take Jonathan Neighbors here, top of the third round. He's going to be 88 speed, 89 acceleration, another normal development guy. Don't really love to see all the normal development that we're getting, but I do think we're having a pretty solid draft. I mean, only time will tell. We kind of missed out on taking some offensive linemen in this class, but I don't know. I feel like we've had an overall pretty good class. Favorites in the receiver room, we are going to go with Dalton Jackson, the 6'6", 230-pound receiver out of North Carolina. Doesn't look like the greatest like speed guy, but he's going to have 86 speed, 95 jumping, hidden development. We finally break the development curse with a hidden dev receiver in Dalton Jackson. And then we're going to go down to the 7th round here. I think we have 2 7th round picks unless we traded one of them. Draft recap. I think we're going to have some good overalls in here. I wouldn't be surprised if I messed up a little bit. It's like my first rebuild. So our first overall pick was Evan Brackens, quarterback out of Syracuse, 77 overall for Evan Brackens. I'm honestly surprised he's this good, but I'm so happy that he is. He's going to be the quarterback of the future. He is going to be under center. Brian Gooden, the corner out of Texas that we got in the 2nd round, he was a 75 overall. So overall looks pretty good. 78 man, 76 zone. I think he was a zone archetype as well with 78 man. So that's actually pretty cool. Spencer James was not as good as I thought. Jonathan Neighbors was a little bit better than I thought. Pat Duval was about where I thought he was going to be. Dalton Jackson, who is probably going to be our new slot receiver. That seems a little weird with him being 6'6", but I feel like he's just going to be a menace to society to try and cover in that slot, as well as that hidden development. I think he's going to be really solid. We're going to check the overall ability of this draft class, and my goodness, Eric Tyson, the number 1 overall pick to the Patriots, was an 83 overall left tackle. So yeah, the Patriots have that left tackle situation fully figured out at this point. Best overall players in the class, though, we had Lonnie Stuckey, corner in the second round, really. Huh. Interesting. No development trait, but he does look like a pretty good player. 95 speed on him. And then there was a few other guys that were kind of high overalls. Junior Dodson, wide receiver out of Florida, 6 foot, 23 years old. He looks like that's a weird build. He's very agile, but he's not very fast. He accelerates at 1,000 miles an hour, but he's not very fast and he can't really catch. That's a weird player. That's a really weird player. This was the other quarterback in Aaron Tyler. He does also have hidden development. He had 92 throw power. He's a very similar build to our quarterback, but we obviously got the better one. I am still going to check out his development trait because I am curious. I would like for our quarterback to be superstar X Factor, but you never know. Their quarterback for the Rams is going to be star development. We had to swoop in front of them and steal the quarterback away pretty much, but I'm not mad at stealing the quarterback away because I think we got one of the best players in the entire draft at the quarterback position, and I think it was a huge need. So what we're going to do right now is I'm going to trade Will Levis. We're going to either get like another first round pick or something out of Will Levis of value. And then we're going to figure some things out with this team. Not managed team. I'm not relocating the Titans. You know what? We're going back to Houston, or not Houston. Yeah, Houston. Okay. So we have moved off of Will Levis in a very interesting move. We gave up a 4th rounder next year. Maybe that's this year. I think it's this year. I'm getting confused with the years. I'm 21 years old, and I feel like I'm still like 14 right now. And we get a 2027 3rd round pick as well, or we gave them that, to get Mike Evans. So what do you do when you have a young quarterback? You stack talent around him, and that's what I feel like we've done. So we're going to do a little lineup overview right here before we hop into the season. So in this lineup overview, as you can see, well, you can't see it yet, we have a pretty stacked receiver room right now. We've got Traylon Burks in here. Kyle Phillips is up to star development, which I find kind of hilarious. But we've got Mike Evans and DeAndre Hopkins as our 1-2 punch in the receiver room, as well as Dalton Jackson, the receiver we drafted this year. Offensive line looks improved. I do think we could do better on the interior, but I don't really have a lot to give up, and I'm not really going to give up assets for what it's looking like right now. Safety, we do need to move over Pat Duvall, as well as we need to move Nick Bosa to become a primary left end, because if not, it's going to do some weird things in simulation. But Pat Duvall is going to be our primary free safety for this team. And we're going to move Nick Bosa over to the left end spot, as well as we're going to make some depth chart changes. You guys probably won't see that, but I'll probably see you guys again at the midseason mark, unless anything interesting is happening at that or before that point. And you guys will see this quarterback's depth trait. I'm hoping for Superstar X Factor. I'm hoping for Superstar X Factor, and I'm hoping for some good numbers out of this team. And after losing to the Bills, and we are 2-4 on the season, we get another potential dev trait challenge. It's going to be for Amani Hooker, our defensive coordinator, Aaron Ward. Keep an eye on him versus the Colts. Hold him to less than 150 yards or get 2 interceptions, forced fumbles, stuff that he's not going to do probably, but I don't know. Maybe he hits it. We'll simulate and we'll find out. I'm just going to continue auto upgrading the team. Slowly but surely, this team is developing pretty quickly. I've gone through a few simulations so far. We did a lot live on Twitch. If you want to follow my Twitch, link down in the description. And development hasn't been very quick, but I feel like in this one, it's been a little bit quicker. So maybe there's been like a tuning update or something, since the last time I tried to sit down and do a recording for this game. Going into week 7, we are 2-5. So we are a better team, but we are a significantly worse team. It seems like it's coming from the offensive end, so we might try and change up the playbooks or something. I'll update you guys if I do change up the playbooks. We're at week 8, though, so we should be able to see our quarterback's development trait by now. I clicked on NFL rosters. They move so much stuff around. It's kind of hard to go in and out, in and out, in and out. But I'm just going to check it from this screen. He is superstar X Factor, if I just saw that correctly. Superstar X Factor quarterback. That's absolutely amazing. We're going to upgrade him as a field general archetype because I want him to get it more accurate, be more pocket oriented. Doesn't really fit our scheme, but I mean, he was the best player available. He's got superstar X Factor. That is absolutely awesome. We made the right move going off of Will Levis. And then the receiver that we drafted, Dalton Jackson, I've been playing him in the slot because I want him to develop. We don't know his dev trait yet, but 6'6", physical receiver out of North Carolina. I'm thinking he might have a pretty decent dev trait. I will update you guys with his dev trait as well. We've got players ready to negotiate, and we've got money to re-sign some guys. So we're not going to hesitate on these contracts. DeAndre Hopkins needs one, who we might, oddly enough, since we're kind of going downhill, move D-Hop, because he's going to be pretty expensive. We're going to bring Tevin Jenkins back. There's no way that we don't bring back Tevin Jenkins. He is going to be a big piece for this offensive line. We might move DeAndre Hopkins because he wants a 3-year contract, and D-Hop is only going to continue to go down. And we traded for Mike Evans, who's kind of doing the same role. We might move off of D-Hop because we're 2-5. We need to improve on the pass game. I'm going to check the stats of our rookie quarterback. Seems like the Panthers playbook might actually be a good one when it comes to passing the ball. I've kind of noticed that. 3 passing touchdowns, 4 interceptions. I don't know if that's just a rookie thing or if that's a playbook thing. Derrick Henry almost has 1,000 yards in 7 weeks of the season. So I'm starting to think Titans playbook may not be the move on offense. Tevin Jenkins is a literal revolving door, and I just gave him a contract. I bet I feel real smart. Defensively, we are absolutely feasting when it comes to sacks right now. Interceptions, they're not all the way there, but I'm happy with our sack production. I'm going to mess with the playbooks. We're going to figure something out on offense because clearly Titans playbook is good for Derrick Henry, but not good for literally anybody else. Okay, so I went to the trade finder with DeAndre Hopkins. Did I want to get rid of him? Not really, but for a trade like this, I couldn't pass it up. So the trade finder originally, it had like a 4th and a 7th round pick in there. We're trading our 3rd round pick this year, our 3rd next year, 2 7ths this year, which, I mean, they're 7th round picks. Oh, well. 2027 5th round pick for Brian Branch and a 1st round pick from the Detroit Lions. So Brian Branch is this weird, like, hybrid defender, and he's going to be a vital piece of this team now. And we got him for a player that we weren't even going to re-sign, because I think the receiver room is going to turn out okay without DeAndre Hopkins. We traded for Mike Evans, and they're kind of, at this point in their career, they're going to do the same things for us. So we're going to throw Brian Branch over at the free safety spot. He's only been in the league for a year. I think he's easy to trade for because they have CD Deuce or CJ Gardner-Johnson or one of his million nicknames that he's changed his name to, 474 times. I don't even know what he goes by at this point. But boom, we have an electric safety duo in Amani Hooker and Brian Branch now. Corners are looking good. Defensive line, we could use a defensive tackle. We could use another middle linebacker. But overall, this team, I feel like it looks really good. We just have to swap up the playbooks. I'm going to go with the Panthers for offense because I know the Panthers do still get some good rushing production. So I'm going to figure out what the Panthers run right here because if anyone didn't know, playbooks matter so much in this. So West Coast spread and Frank Reich. So let's go with Frank Reich. See if we can find him. I feel like I just passed him. There we go. Playbooks matter a ton in simulation. I don't understand why that's a thing. I wish it would just go off a team overall, but it doesn't. It doesn't go off a team overall. Like, your team being good doesn't make a difference, honestly. And I found that out the real hard way the other day. All right, so we've made it to the end of the season. I'm checking out stats. Evan Bracken's had debatably the worst rookie season of all time. 11 touchdowns, 9 interceptions. Derrick Henry, he carried the load pretty well. Evan Bracken's had about 300 yards, 2 touchdowns on the ground. To pair with it, receiving-wise, we did horrible. Dalton Jackson, his development trait happened to be star, so I'm not mad at the pick. He was a mid-round guy, 6'6" receiver. He works. This offense, on the other hand, it doesn't. Terrence Steele and Tevin Jenkins were literal revolving doors. Like at a hotel, you walk in and you kind of see what's going on in there. But the defensive line, my goodness. Jeffrey Simmons, 24 tackles for loss. Nick Bosa, 20 tackles for loss. Harold Landry, 19 sacks, 12 and a half apiece for Nick Bosa and Harold Landry. Jeffrey Simmons had 6. Azeez Al-Shaair had 1.5. Jonathan Neighbors got in there as well. Jermaine Johnson hasn't done effectively anything for us, so we might be looking to move off of him. Brian Branch, after trading for him, he had 3 picks for us and a tackle for loss. Amani Hooker had 2 picks, and Sean Murphy Bunting also had 2 picks. Jermaine Johnson, I mean, I guess he's turning into a coverage linebacker. I don't really know what to do there. Forced fumbles. Azeez Al-Shaair forced 3. That's a little ridiculous. No defensive touchdowns on the season, but the defense was out there swarming. Our offense was just genuinely pathetic. I'm going to send him to the Super Bowl. We're going to see who is competing in the Super Bowl. I'm going to spend all these skill points. We're going to, you know, up our progression and things of that nature. Probably going to do the one where we can slow down Derrick Henry's regression. It's going to be the Eagles and the Bills. And it is going to be the Buffalo Bills, the team that I would probably root for in that. I do not like Eagles fans. There's a lot of Eagles players that I do like, though, like Jason Kelsey and Lane Johnson. Lane Johnson, it's hard to like because he was an Oklahoma guy, but I feel like he's not a bad dude. Jalen Hurts, if you root against Jalen Hurts, I feel like you don't have a soul. But let's go over the season recap. Your Super Bowl MVP is going to be Josh Allen. Defensive Rookie of the Year, Darryl Barber. Offensive Rookie of the Year is going to be quarterback Aaron Tyler of the Rams. And then Doug Peterson is going to be Coach of the Year. Offensive Player of the Year, Travis Kelce. Defensive Player of the Year is going to be Von Miller. And MVP is going to be Dak Prescott for back-to-back seasons, I believe, which is kind of disgusting to even think about. But we're going to get into some re-signings, and then I'm going to do these skill points. You guys are not going to watch me do the skill points, but you guys can watch me re-sign some players. If, you know, the menu doesn't take 10 hours to load, I feel like 90% of editing these videos is just watching this little menu screen come up. I haven't edited one yet, but I'm prepared for that as soon as I sit down to edit this one. Players to re-sign, though. Traylon Burks, pick up his 5th-year option. That works for me. Jermaine Johnson, I'm not picking up his. I'm just not going to re-sign somebody who doesn't produce. We're probably going to look to trade him in the offseason. He just hasn't produced whatsoever. And then anybody else that we would be interested in, Ryan Stonehouse, I would like to bring back as a punter. We'll go up to 4 years for him. Just bring him back for the long haul of this rebuild, because it's probably not going more than 4 years after this. Caleb Shudak, we can upgrade at kicker. So I will see you guys in free agency and for some scouting. Okay, so in free agency, we have money and I'm just going to spend it. Like, I'm going to be honest, we're going to spend the money. We've got like our priority guys locked up for the future right now. So why not go out and get one of the best guards in the entire league in Joel Bitonio? Joel Bitonio is probably going to move over to right. And then we're going to leave Dylan Radins at center for now. We might draft somebody over him. AJ Terrell is here, and people really aren't going after him. He doesn't have much interest of being here, but people aren't really going after him. So it'd be kind of dumb because we lowballed him a little bit, and we're still the highest overall offer. So there's that. And then Harrison Butker, this is our main position of need, and that's going to be kicker. So let's evaluate these offers. AJ Terrell, I'm not going to go any higher than that, but we do get Joel Bitonio and we get Harrison Butker. I'm not going to go any higher than this for AJ Terrell. Maybe we get him, maybe we don't. And we do. So we have effectively built probably the best defense in the NFL already. I would say Titans fans would be pretty happy with how this defense is looking right now. Like I said, we had a lot of money and I decided, you know what, let's spend some. I mean, let's make this team as good as possible for our young quarterback. We could still upgrade in the receiver room, and I do intend to do that. Dylan Radins, I guess, just is not a thing anymore. He left in free agency, I'm going to assume. So that's going to mean Peter Skoronski is going to move over to the right side. We might even move Joel Bitonio to left tackle. That sounds ridiculous, but Tevin Jenkins has been a revolving door. Joel Bitonio, he's not... I mean, we can just restructure the contract right now. I feel like that's ridiculous. I'm going to do it. I don't I don't know. Maybe that was dumb. Maybe that's cheating. I didn't know that was a feature. So fun fact, you can restructure contracts in Madden 24 by the game. That's a great feature. I didn't know that was a thing. I did it on accident. I'm going to try and avoid doing that and keep it a little bit more realistic. But Joe Batonio, we got him in the building. I accidentally clicked on that. So welcome to left tackle. And you're making less money than you thought you were going to. Eat shit. Tevin Jenkins is going to move back inside to guard, though. I'm going to move him to right, and we're going to play Skoronski at left so we can have our revolving doors on the right side. But we're going to protect the life out of the blind side. That works, right? Yeah, boom, look at that. All right, we need a center now. We can find a center in the draft. We have a few mid-round picks. Kyle Phillips dropped in dev trait. And Mike Evans really dropped in overall. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I'm starting to regret that trade now. But I mean, he's still like stats wise looks okay. We're definitely going to be looking receiver. We've got a pretty decent first round pick. We're going to be looking receiver all day in the first round. Defensively, I do think we look pretty good. But Jermaine Johnson, we traded for him early. I thought he was going to develop and be pretty good. He just hasn't been. We honestly have a few guys we're probably going to trade. Jermaine Johnson is probably gone. Sean Murphy-Bunting is probably gone as well. And maybe even Mike Evans. I feel like it might be a little early to trade for somebody that we just got, but he's not going to be cheap. I'm going to check out his contract real quick. We just traded for him, and regression hit him like a literal freight train. Alan Jackson's song, it's a great song. Go listen to it. He's making like 10 a year. He might literally retire this year. We're going to make some trades. All right. This is one of the best defenses, and I'm not prepared to sit here and waste it. Also, Harold Landry's up to Superstar X Factor. That is pretty cool. But yeah, we're going to make some trades right here. We signed AJ Terrell, but let's free up some money and let's get better. Let's get picks. Let's do something with this team. Let's make this team as good as we possibly can. So I've gone to the trade finder. And this is an absolutely ridiculous trade, and I would be stupid to deny it. The Chargers are willing to give me Quentin Johnston and a 6th and a 7th for Mike Evans in his old age. Now, Mike Evans has the mentor tag. I don't know if that's like super beneficial, but getting Quentin Johnston, who is going to develop and progress and become my new #1 wide receiver for our aging, overpriced wide receiver, I feel like was a pretty good move. They're kind of similar players. I would say Mike Evans is obviously more of a possession guy. Quentin Johnston is more of like a deep threat. I feel like his stats don't really reflect how he played at TCU. I watched a lot of him. I'm a Texas fan, so I, Big 12, kind of see him play a little bit more than I wanted to, but I feel like that was a pretty good trade. I still would say receiver could be a need, because Traylon Burks is not developing at a very fast rate. I'd say center is a need. We haven't given up Sean Murphy-Bunting or Jermaine Johnson, but Jermaine Johnson is going to be the next to go. We traded for him, and he's just been an absolute disappointment the entire time. I put him in positions to succeed, and he has done literally nothing. Okay, so I've gone to the trade finder again, and if you haven't used the trade finder, it is a very valuable tool. We can get Braden Daniels here, a 6th and a 7th round pick for Sean Murphy-Bunting. Sean Murphy-Bunting was just not in the long-term plan for this team. Frees up some cap space. Last trade that I'm going to do is that was not Sean Murphy-Bunting. That was Jermaine Johnson. Last trade we're going to do, though, is going to be Sean Murphy-Bunting, because I think we have a better 3-set with McCreary and the guy we drafted out of Texas, Hook 'em Horns. So we're going to see what we can potentially get for Sean Murphy-Bunting. Honestly, I might just go trade finder again, because these offers don't look terrible. Tank Dell from the Texans, that looks like the best deal, but that's just like so wildly unrealistic. I'm not even going to entertain it. Okay, so straight up, we just traded Sean Murphy-Bunting for a 3rd round pick from the Raiders. I didn't really want the players they were offering. They were offering a player and a 4th and a 7th, but that's going to be a 3rd round pick. Currently, as this team sits, we did just get Braylon Daniels from the Commanders. He is probably going to be our center for the time being. We are going to look to upgrade that position, though. We do still need a left outside linebacker, but the way that this scheme is kind of working out, I'm going to look for a coverage guy, because it's been putting Jermaine Johnson in a lot of coverage snaps. I don't know if the Titans run like a weird hybrid where, this is like their true edge rusher, and then this is their true edge rusher, and then these are essentially defensive tackles, basically like a 4-3 in like a very, you know, like special ed terminology of it. Like, I don't know if that's how it works, but that's how it's been working on paper. But our draft plan, I mean, is going to be tight end, center, a coverage linebacker, and a defensive tackle. I think everything else outside of that does look pretty good. I'm also going to swap up our playbooks. We're going to be running the Dallas Cowboys offense because they do effectively have a good set for the running back position. All right, so we have made it to the NFL draft. There is some insane talent up towards the top of the board. I'm just not going to move picks. We've already moved a lot of picks. I'm just not going to move picks to get up there and draft one of those guys. We have 2 picks that are very close to each other right here in the 29th pick and the 5th pick. And I'm going to try and address some positions of need and see how we can stack out this lineup as best as possible. We can get them, hopefully. But Chris Long is going to be the pick. He's going to have 89 strength, hidden development, 72 speed, 81 acceleration. Not the most exciting pick in the world, but Chris Long, hopefully he can be like, I don't know, the defensive end Chris Long, the former, what was it, Vikings? Wait, I'm thinking of Jared Allen. Chris Long, former Rams and Eagles defensive end. There goes the quarterback, Sean Barton. He goes to the Miami Dolphins, so I guess they've gotten rid of Tua. Also, Joe Burrow was in free agency, so God only knows where he ended up going. I would imagine in real life, the very, very strong. I don't think we're going to get better than James Fredrickson. I've already sold myself on him. 91 strength, 68 speed, 86 acceleration. James Fredrickson, boom, we plugged 2 holes right then and there. Defensive tackle and center. Both sides of the football are looking pretty stacked right now. If that linebacker can be here in the 3rd round, I think we're going to be knocking this draft out of the water. I really, really do hope this linebacker is here because this is going to be our only opportunity to get him because he'll definitely go before the 5th round. But the linebacker I'm referring to is gone. That sucks. He had to have gone in like the last 5 or so picks. See if maybe there's another coverage guy. There really doesn't seem to be. Yeah, there's really not anybody in the coverage ability. But maybe we can get like a consolidation prize of somebody who's decent, maybe on the back end. This corner looks like he might be all right man-to-man. I'm not going to draft him there. Not seeing much there. Javon Childress does actually look pretty good as a safety. We don't really need a safety, but Javon Childress does look, or Javon. It's Javon. I thought it said Javon. He does look pretty solid. It's not a position of need, though. I'm going to check out wide receiver. If there's nobody we like at the receiver position, I'm definitely not going to hesitate to take Javon Childress. We've got a Yale receiver that looks pretty bad at everything. We got Tyreek Johnson here, 6'4", 233 pounds. He's more of a tight end at that weight. That is a thick boy playing wide receiver. Let's see here, though. There's not really a lot going on with the receivers. We got a playmaker out of Middle Tennessee State here in Virgil Harper. He's got B catching, can't really run routes. He's not the fastest guy in the world. I'm going to stay away from that. I think we're probably going to draft that safety. There's not a lot going on with the receivers right now. Deontay Beckham doesn't look terrible late in the draft. Might be our next pick, honestly. He's pretty athletic as well. We're going to go with that safety. It's not really a position of need. It's just a best player available kind of a move. And that is going to be Javon Childress here in the 3rd round. Back into the 3rd round. I don't know, maybe we'll throw him at coverage linebacker. I mean, he looks like he can cover a little bit. 87 speed, 92 agility, 87 change of direction, 86 acceleration. How well is he going to, or like how good is he going to be? I don't know, but he just seemed to be the best player that was available at that spot. Here in the 5th round, though, as we simulate up, I'm probably going to take a wide receiver because I feel like we've sealed up every position so far. Wide receiver is the only one where I'm like, we could use a guy, maybe. So I'm going to check out the receiver position and see who some of these guys might be. There was a guy below the playmaker out of Middle Tennessee State that looked kind of interesting. Not him. I can't remember who it was. It was below Deontay Beckham. It was Denard Owens here. Physical receiver, 6'2", 220 pounds. he looks interesting. We're going to go and draft him. Denard Owens. Maybe he's decent. 90 speed, 90 change of direction, 6'2", 220 pounds out of Penn State. I don't really know what the potential is going to be, but that's going to be my last pick in this draft. We're going to go ahead and simulate out of the draft. I will see you guys at the draft recap. All right, so now at the draft recap here, Chris Long is a 73 overall. James Fredrickson is also a 73, and Javon Childress is a 73. So we pretty much knocked it out of the park with 73 overalls in our first few rounds. We're going to check best players in the class. It was 2 corners, actually. It was Will Pickett and Jaron Verdon. It was 3 corners, and then Trent Whitaker. This was the top receiver in the class. This is who I wanted, but I wasn't going to trade up to number 1 to draft a wide receiver. Is he going to replace Mike Evans in Tampa Bay? I think he's probably going to do a pretty good job at 6'3", 230 pounds, but worth the idea of trading up. He went at number 3. Wait, no, he didn't. Alex Mentor was the guy that I liked out of Georgia, 6'3", 205. He does look very good, but I don't think he would have been anybody worth trading up for. All right, now at the midseason mark, we are 4-2. So I'm taking it that the Cowboys playbook is making some differences when it comes to the offensive end. I clicked on schedule. I meant to click on stats and awards. Stats and awards. Come on. Come on. These menus are very slow. I hope they do a little tuning update or something, because these rebuilds take quite a bit to do. We're about 3 hours in. We're heading into, or I mean, we're in our 3rd season now. Evan Brackens is not the reason we're 4-2, by the way. 1,500 yards and 9 touchdowns, 7 interceptions is not great. Derrick Henry, though, you know, pushing towards 600 yards, 8 touchdowns on the season. Quentin Johnston's doing pretty solid. Traylon Burks. I mean, we have a balanced passing attack, but like we're not putting up a ton of numbers. And I feel like our quarterback is not exactly that far off of Dak Prescott. Defensively, we have regressed a little bit when it comes to tackles for loss and sacks, but this is the midseason mark, so it could always improve. Spencer James, I don't know this name. Who are you? Why are you playing? Oh, we drafted him last year. That's what it is. He's playing more than our rookie defensive tackle, though, which I don't really love. We're going to check out development traits. Maybe we're doing all right when it comes to the dev traits for our guys. Because we did draft 3 hidden development players. I drafted 2. The CPU drafted 1 of them. We're not going to know the development trait on the tight end right now. I can assure you of that. But Chris Long has star development. That's fine. I thought he was going to be around that mark. We've got a few skill points to throw around on offense. The center as well was star. Chigo Okonkwo is playing up. The whole team's playing up with morale. If we can carry this into a postseason run on the back of Derrick Henry, because that seems to be probably our entire offense at this point, because Evan Brackens just hasn't taken a step up. Maybe I need to get another receiver. I mean, maybe we can check out the trade block, see if there might be something out there at the receiver position. But overall, I'm not mad at where we are. We're sitting atop the AFC South right now, so that alone is a W. The Jaguars, the Colts, though, they could swoop in at any given moment. We do have a trade offer here for Kyle Phillips. Kyle Phillips isn't really going to be getting playing time, so I would entertain this depending on who we're talking about. Eric Gray, Carter McGee. Was Carter McGee the linebacker we skipped out on? There's no way. Marquise McCarthy. I mean, I feel like these are similarly overall players. Isaiah Spiller as well. Rashad Fitzpatrick. Mason Johnson. I mean, there's some interesting trade offers here. A 69 overall defensive end. Nice. Let me check out what this Dolphins outside linebacker looks like. Actually, we'll just accept the trade. I mean, Kyle Phillips isn't really doing anything for us, and that's gonna be extra picks. We got an outside linebacker out of it, and I think that's literally the outside linebacker I passed up on in the draft. I don't know that for sure, but I'll check in with you guys at the postseason mark. We actually have some players to re-sign. I'm going to try and bring back Amani Hooker. He comes back on a relatively cheap deal. Chig Okonkwo we could re-sign. Roger McCreary. Caleb Farley has kind of been phased out of our plans right now. Peter Skoronski and Quentin Johnston will both be getting their 5th-year options picked up. Chig Okonkwo doesn't really want that big of a contract. It's about $6 million a year. I'd be willing to do it if he is. He is definitely willing to do it. Roger McCreary, I would like to have back, and he also doesn't want a ton of money. If he'll come back on this deal, that would work for me. We are low on funds, though. I'm going to be honest with you. We are very low on money. That Nick Bosa contract is catching up with us a little bit. So if there's a time to win, it's now, like right now. All right, and here at the postseason, we went 12-5. So that is a huge step up from the first time I tried to record this. So it seems that the Cowboys playbook might be the move. Evan Brackens had an electric second half of the season. 4,400 yards, 33 touchdowns, 12 picks. He definitely was like sophomore MVP out of the sophomore quarterbacks. Derrick Henry had 17 touchdowns. We had 3 1,000 yard receivers, including Dalton Jackson, the guy we drafted in like the 5th round last year. Dalton Jackson is developing. He's coming a long way, especially with where we drafted him at. We had touchdowns spread all around the board. Offensive line, how do we hold up? Terrence Steele is still a revolving door, but Tevin Jenkins has cut down on the sacks now that he's not playing tackle. Jonathan Neighbors had 112 tackles. I see the sack number down there, and that is just ridiculous. Jeff Simmons, 17 tackles for loss. Nick Bosa had 16. And Chris Long, our defensive tackle, who was star development, he had 11, I believe. I was just double checking that he is star development. But defensively, 21.5 sacks for Nick Bosa. That is just absurd. Jonathan Neighbors, he was playing sub linebacker for us. He gets 2 interceptions. Brian Gooden, the corner we drafted last year in the 2nd round, gets 2 interceptions. AJ Terrell gets 2 as well. As well as Azeez Al-Shaair. Spencer James, the defensive tackle, came out there and got a pick, 4.5 sacks. Talk about a legend. I mean, that's a truly foundational piece to this team. Harold Landry forced a fumble. No fumble recoveries, though. No defensive touchdowns on the season. No safeties, nothing like that. We are going to check out the awards, though. We were 3rd in offensive yards for the season, so that is awesome. Evan Brackens comes in 9th in MVP voting. Jonathan Taylor wins Offensive Player of the Year. The Colts playbook could be interesting. Derrick Henry comes in 7th in Offensive Player of the Year. TJ Watt wins Defensive Player of the Year. I hate that. I wish that could have been Nick Bosa. Offensive Rookie of the Year. I don't think we're going to have anybody in here. BJ Johnson, the tight end, he managed to slip in there right at the end. Chris Long comes in at 8th on Defensive Rookie of the Year. Evan Brackens, 7th in the quarterback rankings. Derrick Henry, 5th in the running back rankings. Traylon Burks wins Receiver of the Year. That is huge. That is absolutely huge for this team that Traylon Burks wins that, because that's probably a dev trait. Nick Bosa wins Best Defensive Line. TJ Watt wins Best Linebacker. Chidobe Awuzie wins Best DB. I mean, all right. Okay. Let's go ahead and check out the team, see if we got any dev trade upgrades or anything of that nature during the season. And then we've got a postseason matchup with the Chiefs, which I'm not excited for. We drew the worst possible matchup that we could have had by going up against the Chiefs. But checking into the lineup, we should have some skill points thrown around this place. Evan Brackens is playing up to an 86 overall. He's got 3 skill points as well to upgrade him. I'm going to continue to upgrade him as a field general. I want the passing ability to just continue to go up for Evan Brackens. That unlocks an ability slot as well. I don't know that the abilities really do anything in simulation, but we'll change those up to some of the ones that I feel like are pretty good. Evan Brackens is now up to an 89 overall with morale, so that makes him, what, like an 87? Ratings-wise, he does look ridiculous. 92 short, 91 deep. Medium accuracy was always his struggle. 83 speed. We drafted a really good quarterback. Now, abilities, I don't... Okay, Clutch is fine. I've played a little bit of Mutt, so like I know some of these, like Red Zone Deadeye is probably a good one. Bulldozer is not exactly a quarterback. Stat, Quick Draw, maybe. No Look Deadeye. I mean, he's not Patrick Mahomes. We'll go with Quick Draw. Spin Cycle, not really a quarterback one, you know? Comeback. You know what? We'll go with Comeback. I mean, what is this? Agile Extender? No, this is Tight Out. I don't know. I feel like that's an okay set. Clutch. For his quarterback ability, though, we're going to go with probably Omaha or Bazooka. Yeah, we'll go with Omaha. Maybe that affects the gameplay. I don't know that it does, but we're gonna apply it anyways and see if it does. The rest of the offense though is looking pretty good. We're gonna upgrade some guys, and we're gonna go into this postseason matchup versus the Chiefs. It feels good to be here. It feels really good to be here after the 8-hour recording that I had the other day, where we went like 3-14 or something in the final season. Like it literally hurt my soul actually to record that for as long as I did, and the team just didn't turn out to be good. But we're going up against the Chiefs. I'm gonna see if we can beat them here in simulation. I'm obviously not gonna hop in and play the game as much as I want to, because that would probably guarantee a win. And we do beat them. We're going up against the Steelers now. That was a high scoring game, 41-35. Going up against the Steelers, I'm gonna imagine it's gonna be a little bit more low scoring. They have a quarterback, but I don't think their quarterback is as much of a stud as ours. Come on, let's come out here. Let's dominate TJ Watt and the Steelers. They were 13-4. They look like a good team. We got our asses kicked. That's not great. That's not great. I'm going to be honest. It's really not great. Quentin Johnston gets an upgrade. We're going to go and sim to the Super Bowl, and we're going to have some skill points and stuff to upgrade with at that point. I'm surprised that the Steelers... oh, wait. Thanks for extending totally not Jeff Fisher's contract. I mean, I appreciate it. We're gonna send him to the Super Bowl because that's when all your skill points and stuff start to like come into effect for winning things and dev traits, because Traylon Burks won best receiver. So that could be superstar dev. And Traylon Burks does have an upgrade on the skill points. We're gonna upgrade playmaker. I don't know, I feel like playmaker is the new big one, because that upgrades route running like it did, and catching as well. He did not get up to superstar dev, but he's still at star, and he's playing up very well, and he's now pretty high overall, like 84, 85 overall. It's going to be a Steelers-Cowboys Super Bowl, though. That's a historic rivalry. Let's see how that goes. We have about 45 million in cap, it says. So that could be pretty monstrous for us in this offseason. Just bolster this team, make sure it wins the Super Bowl. The Steelers do win the Super Bowl, so we lost to the Super Bowl winner. So suck on that one. I will see you guys in the offseason. We're gonna try and make some moves with this team. Okay, so at re-signing period, we are gonna bring back Peter Skoronski on his 5th year, as well as Quentin Johnston on his 5th year. Now, actual re-signings, Caleb Farley, I think we can live with that. I think we could upgrade at corner. We're gonna have about 30 million going into the offseason. I think that's plenty enough to get an upgrade at Caleb Farley. And overall, I don't think we had the worst secondary in general. So there's some improvements that need to be made. It seems to actually be on the defensive side of the ball, because our offense was top 10 in every category. Our defense couldn't really stop the run, so maybe we need a linebacker or something that could be of interest. But we're going to check out the free agents. I'll update you guys if I find anybody I'm kind of looking at. And this looks like a bust of a free agency class, other than superstar development Brock Purdy, I guess. All right. Okay, so in free agency, there's not really anybody that I wanted, but we are going to go after Alontae Taylor. He's super cheap. He actually wants to be here. He played college ball for the Volunteers. So let's see if we got Alontae Taylor. We did. So that is going to be our replacement over Caleb Farley. And it really didn't cost us much. So I'm honestly happy with that. Okay, so we've made it to the NFL draft, and I'm just going to be perfectly honest with you. I am moving up inside the top 15. Now I'm going to move up to about pick 14. I'm drafting that corner. So I checked mock draft 5. He might go a little bit earlier, but it says he's going to go around the 15 range. And I'm going to move up to pick 14. I don't remember off the top of my head who has that. I know the Buccaneers have pick 15, which we've made oddly quite a few trades with the Buccaneers in this one. I don't know if Tom Brady's up in the front office and it's just an easy number to dial for Mike Vrabel. Well, Mike Vrabel's not here. We have totally not Jeff Fisher now. So I'm going to try and find pick 14. Well, that didn't take long. It is the Cleveland Browns. So we're going to try and move up with the Browns. We have the 26th pick. If we can't move up, I'm going to take the receiver. But if we are able to, I would like that corner a lot. I figured it was going to take a little bit more than that. Maybe I'll give you a second in 2028 to just move straight up right now. Let's throw in a sixth in 2028 and let's make this happen, Cleveland. All right, Cleveland is down with that. We're going to get the 14th overall pick. We're moving up. I've done a lot of trading up in this one. I've done a lot of trading in general, but I'm just trying to build the most ridiculous team possible for the Titans. And this is just the way to do it, in my opinion. We're going to go up and we're going to grab Ronald Bowie, the corner out of Colorado. Deion Sanders has been coaching him up. He's got elite speed. He looks absurd. I mean, literally absurd. 6'2", 193, 96 speed, 90 acceleration, 92 agility. This could be a superstar X Factor player very easily to pair alongside AJ Terrell, and I just wasn't going to pass up that opportunity. We have a 4th round pick as our next pick. I don't know if we're going to be able to get that linebacker I want. I hope we can. I really hope we can. It's going to be kind of difficult, I assume, but we are going to hope for it right here in the 4th round that the linebacker is still here. If he's not, we'll find somebody, but I'm just hoping my linebacker's here. And he's not, but there is another linebacker here in Steven Burton, who has B zone coverage. He's not as good as the other guy, but he does have elite speed as well. We're going to take Steven Burton right here. He's going to have normal development, but 86 speed, 77 change of direction, 87 acceleration. I wish we still had our mid-round picks and I hadn't traded them earlier in the rebuild, so we could have taken the linebacker that I really wanted. We're going to find him in the draft recap as well, because I do think that linebacker looked quite incredible. All right, final favorite that we have on the board, it's going to be Tyler Jenkins. He's another coverage style linebacker out of Delaware. He's got elite speed as well. I mean, he looks pretty good. Normal development, 86 speed, 91 acceleration. We kind of drafted the same guy back to back, but that is going to be the end of this draft. I will see you guys at the draft recap. We're going to find out the overalls. I think that corner might literally be an 80 overall. Like, he looked absurd. I'm not even going to lie. He looked absolutely absurd. All right, and here we are at the draft recap. We're going to find out the overall in that corner. I think it's going to be ridiculous. It is. He's an 80 overall corner. I thought he was going to be ridiculous. He actually is ridiculous. He is now the second best corner on the team. He's an 80 overall man-to-man archetype. The linebackers were not as good as I thought they could have been. But let's go ahead and let's check out the overall strength of the draft class. Lonnie Gilliard, the early first-round corner, had 98 speed. He was somehow better than the corner we had. The cornerback class looked quite stacked out here, I'm not going to lie. Having those two guys in the same class. Bo Peterson. How many 80 overalls were in this draft class? Bo Peterson, 82 overall free safety, 86 zone, 70 man. Interesting looking prospect. I mean, he looks really, really good as well. Not a position we needed, so I didn't see him. Trevor Hayward, Rayshawn Davis, receiver out of Tennessee, was really good. Ronald Bowie, the corner we drafted, obviously was pretty good as well. Jeremiah Blake, the receiver we passed up on, I'm honestly okay with it. He does look insane, though. 97 speed, 99 acceleration. I mean, he looks insane. This would be somebody I would want if I was playing the games. But he does look pretty ridiculous as well. I'm going to try and find that linebacker that we missed out on, if he is anywhere. But overall, I think we did okay because we got the one position we needed. Heath McQueen, this was the linebacker I liked out of Michigan, the middle linebacker, and he turned out to be a 76 overall. He's got 95 hit power. My goodness, dude hits like a literal freight train. So here's the linebacker that I had interest in. He is a 74 overall. He goes to the Dallas Cowboys, 90 speed. He's not really a big coverage guy, so his coverage wasn't as high as I anticipated it to be. There was another linebacker I had interest in, and he ended up going in the 4th round. That would be Robert Coates out of Tennessee. No hidden dev on him, but he's a run stopper archetype. He goes to our division rival, which you don't love to see that, but I think we got one of the best players, clearly not the best player, since there was like 1980 overalls in this class. I have not touched the draft class strength thing that is a thing in this game. but my goodness. All right, so this is going to be a lineup overview for what could be the final season. So Derrick Henry's down to an 87 overall. He's regressing. It's pretty much the end of Derrick Henry's career at this point. We want to bring home a Lombardi while Derrick Henry is still on this team. Evan Brackens is up to an 89 overall. So offensively, I mean, we're looking pretty good. Defensively as well, we are also looking pretty good. Where is our drafted corner? There he is. We're going to have him starting on the boundary. He's got 96 or 97 speed. Like, he's ridiculously fast. He is going to be starting on the boundary. Actually, I don't mind him in the slot. I mean, that's a lot of speed to be going in the slot. I'm going to move Neighbors up. I'm good with how that all looks. All right, so update at the midseason mark. We are 3-4, a little under where I would anticipate being, considering this is the best team we've had. So that's a little disappointing. I'm not going to lie. We're going to check out the stats, though. Evan Brackens, about 1,400 yards, 11 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. He's not doing too bad. Derrick Henry has 516 yards and 6 touchdowns. Quentin Johnston in the slot this year is about at 400 yards. Dalton Jackson has 5 touchdowns. Traylon Burks has taken a step back on the offensive end. Overall, the offense has taken a step back in general. Terrence Steele is continuing to be a revolving door. Defensively, Spencer James, who should not really be playing, leads the team in tackles for loss. I don't know how Spencer James keeps finding his way into the lineup. He just keeps doing it. And I'm not agreeing to it. He's just here. Nick Bosa has 10.5 sacks, though, and that's ridiculous, the midseason mark. We only have 1 interception, which is kind of depressing, I'm not going to lie. But we do have some skill points to spend and upgrade our players at the midseason mark now and see how we can overall do. It's been a rocky start to the season. I assume our schedule is not the easiest thing in the world. Evan Brackens is going to crack 90 overall as our quarterback. There's not really a lot to update. I'm gonna look at the lineup real quick. We're gonna find out the development trade on that corner. My guess is Superstar X Factor, but he might not. You never know. He is Superstar. Superstar will absolutely work for me. Ronald Bowie, I think he was definitely the right pick. I definitely think he was the right pick. I think moving up, we didn't have to move up a ton to get him. 96 speed. We have 2 absolutely locked down boundary corners on the outside. Overall, I like the way that this team has been built. There is positions we could do better at, like, you know, the left outside linebacker, middle linebackers could use some work, but overall, I'm not mad at how this team is looking so far. I wish Steven James would stop starting. That would be pretty cool. Like, he's not even the starting rush DT. He just won't leave. There's nothing I can do to get rid of him. He just won't stop starting. I mean, he's producing, so what does it matter, I guess? But it's just weird to me. I will update you guys if we make the postseason. Actually, we got players to negotiate with. I don't know how much money we have. I'm gonna be honest. I don't think it's a lot of money if we do have money. We have $76 million. Brian Branch is somebody that we're gonna have to bring back. 4-year contract for Brian Branch. Totally content with that. Traylon Burks is another guy that I think we absolutely have to bring back. 4-year contract for Traylon Burks. Tajay Spears, I would like to bring back, depending on the amount of money that he's looking for. About 4 a year. If he'll come back on that, I'm good with it. Harold Landry is somebody I don't really see us re-signing. Terrence Steele, we're definitely not re-signing. He's been a literal revolving door. Aziz Al-Shair, I think we can get better at. Braden Daniels, we traded for him early, and he just hasn't really done anything. Joel Bitonio needs a contract. I don't love that. And then we're going to have to accept the 5th-year options on our... did we draft Brian Gooden in the first round? I thought we drafted him in the second round. Joel Bitonio, I would like to bring him back for another season if he has interest in doing that. And he does, so we'll bring him back for 1 more year after this. If we don't make the postseason or things don't go well towards the end of this season, we'll do 1 more. But as it currently sits, I think this is going to be the final season. We'll see, though. We will see. All right, so at the end of the season, we did the most Jeff Fisher thing possible. If that could be 8-8, that would be. We went 9-8. you hate to see it. I mean, you truly, truly hate to see it. This was probably Derrick Henry's final season. We were pushing to try and make a Super Bowl before Derrick Henry retired, and I just don't think it was going to happen. 28 touchdowns, 14 interceptions for Brackens, 1,300 yards, 15 touchdowns for Derrick Henry. He put up a pretty good season. Quentin Johnson out of the slot also put up a very, very solid season for us. And then sacks, Terrence Steele, he was a revolving door. We're going to upgrade at right tackle in this offseason. Oh my goodness. The pressure in the Titans playbook is absurd. Nick Bosa had 22 sacks. Jeff Simmons had 14. Chris Long had 6.5. Spencer James finally stopped stealing Chris Long's sacks, but he did have 4 of his own. AJ Terrell had 4 interceptions. Ronald Bowie, our rookie corner, he played really, really well. Love to see that season from Ronald Bowie. Hopefully defensive rookie of the year. I have my doubts, but you can always hope for it. Forced fumbles, Azeez Al-Shaair and AJ Terrell. Any defensive touchdowns for us? No defensive touchdowns on the season. You'd like to see a all right, coming into the re-signing period, we're going to pick up Evan Brackens, his 5th-year option, as well as Brian Gooden. I want to keep both of those guys around. Harold Landry, his time is done. Terrence Steele, his time is done. Azeez Al-Shaair, his time is also done. I expect this to be a very big and a very busy free agency class for us. We're also going to be looking for linebackers in the draft. The linebacker position as a whole, we just need to be better. We need a left outside linebacker and we need a right outside linebacker. Plus we need another middle linebacker. We do have one middle linebacker, but we're going to have to make some upgrades heading into free agency. So I'll update you with who we're looking at, who we're potentially going to sign. So Bryce Young is in free agency. That's interesting. I mean, we're not going to sign him like we don't need him, but that's interesting that Bryce Young is in free agency. Deion Dawkins could be of interest though. Nolan Smith. Okay, we're talking now. Nolan Smith is going to be a Titan. I can't pass up the idea of signing Nolan Smith. I mean, it's a close to home guy. I am interested heavily in the idea of Nolan Smith for this team. All right, so in free agency, these are going to be the guys we're targeting. It's going to be Trenton Simpson, Nolan Smith. I'm not going to lie, I'm throwing a lot of money at Nolan Smith, but I think he would be our next, like, great pass rusher to add to this rotation in this unit. With Joel Bitonio retiring, I'm going to go after Trent Brown. I feel like he just fills a need. We're still going to have to draft a right tackle, which is fine with me, but we're going to simulate. Teams are going in on him. Nolan Smith is a Titan as well as Trenton Simpson. These are 2 guys that were drafted this recent year. I'm gonna probably put in an offer on another one of the tackles if there is anybody available. I mean, Deion Dawkins doesn't really want to be here. Taylor Decker does want to be here. So I'm going to pull my offer on Trent Brown, and we're going to go after Taylor Decker. He's somebody that's definitely going to retire after the season. But bringing in Taylor Decker for a year, I don't think would be the worst move. We're in contention with the Colts. Hopefully we win that. And we do. So we have Taylor Decker, not Taylor Lewan, who was formerly here. But we're going to go look into the draft class a little bit. We need a right tackle. We need a middle linebacker still, I would consider. And we need another pass rusher, like a right outside linebacker. So let's see what we can cook up in the draft, and I will update you guys if I find anything interesting. All right, so we are into the NFL draft. We have the 16th overall pick. I'm just going to go and simulate to the pick. There's a lot of players I think I'm comfortable drafting at the 16th pick, so I didn't really find a need to move up or anything of that nature. So Denzel Hill was one of those players. There is a few tackles that I do really like. There was a left tackle I liked, I know, like Dominique Turner, who could, easily make the swap over to right tackle, I would assume. He does look like the worst athlete of the group, but he might be technically the best. Tim Curley here is the one that I was heavily focused on. He's not much of a run blocker, but he is quite the pass blocker, elite strength. We're going to go with Tim Curley. Tim Curley has hidden development, 93 strength, 67 speed, 72 acceleration. Tim Curley, I think, is going to automatically be better than Terrence Steele. It's pretty hard to be as bad as Terrence Steele was actually for us. So we're going to move on to the second round. There was a few running backs that I was kind of eyeballing as well. There was a safety I liked out of Texas. He looked like the next Earl Thomas without probably the off the field stuff that Earl Thomas decided to get involved with right there at the end. As well as a defensive tackle here, Luke Woody, who is still available. He's got pretty good power and finesse moves. His block shedding looks decent. We don't really need a defensive tackle, but I'm going to take Luke Woody because, I don't know, you can't be afraid to get better, and I think Luke Woody definitely could be better than Chris Long, who we have there right now. And then we're going to move on to the fourth round. The running back that I liked was kind of a later round guy anyway, so I think this could work out. And we could be able to just do a clean sweep and get all the players that I actually liked out of this draft class. The linebacker position, once again, was just kind of weak. I don't know if that's something that needs to be tuned in the draft class strength, specifically middle linebacker. Linebacker overall is typically decent. So our guy is gone. We're actually going to take Kirk St. Clair, a tight end out of LSU. He's going to have 86 speed, 88 acceleration. I think Kirk St. Clair might be pretty decent. And then we're just going to sim out of this draft. We're going to head to the draft recap. Because there's nobody that really has my interest in the rest of this draft. The rest of the picks, it can just auto draft. Maybe it'll get us a running back anyways. It'll just take some random guys. Maybe they'll be okay. Maybe they won't. You never really know with these kinds of things. But overall, who we got at the top end of the board, I think is all going to be pretty good talents. We have swapped up to the Ravens playbook on defense. I think I showed that in the video. But we get 72 and 73. Kirk St. Clair is a 68. Drafted Jonathan Jones and Tremaine Randall, who were 70 and 70s. We had a lot of 6th round picks. I wasn't aware that we had, what is that, like six round picks? But Tremaine Randall, elusive back out of Eastern Michigan. He actually looks pretty good. Can't really run anybody over, but he does look pretty decent. Jonathan Jones out of Cal as a wide receiver in the mid rounds, I think also is a pretty solid pick. I'm going to go over the overall draft class strength because we're going to check out the draft recap right here. It didn't look like the greatest draft class in the world, but Tyler Hill, this was the safety I was talking about, out of Texas that looked like the next Earl Thomas. This might be a generational safety, and he is. Oh, I shouldn't have passed on him. We didn't need a safety, but 99 hit power is coming to the division. It's not Earl Thomas. It's Tyler Hill. It's literally Earl Thomas and Cam Chancellor morphing together. He has superstar development, so he's not a generational player. He's just a really high generated player. Oh man, he is going to be a problem. There was a few really good receivers, actually quite a few really good receivers. I don't know why the receivers have been so good. I feel like receiver and corner has just been really good the entire time we've been doing this. Okay, so this is going to be the final look team for this season. It seems Derrick Henry has decided to call it quits out of nowhere. Let me generate best lineup and make sure that, yeah, Derrick Henry decided to retire. So we're going without Derrick Henry this season. We got Tajay Spears. We may entertain the idea of trading for a running back because the Cowboys scheme is heavily dependent on the running back position. Kinda, like not heavily, but it's dependent on the running back position a little bit. So we may try and make a trade to get a running back in this team because this is our final season. I'm not going to sell out and just dump a bunch of first round picks at a team, but we're gonna see about making a trade for a running back. I accidentally simmed a week, so we started off 0-1. I'm gonna go out. We're gonna get a running back to go into this final season with. Nobody's gonna be able to replace that Derrick Henry level production, but we can find somebody. So like I said, we're gonna trade for a running back. So this is pretty much all of our draft this year. I just did the little trade finder thing and wanted to see what the 49ers would want for Christian McCaffrey. They have other running backs on the roster. And, you know, for a team that I feel like is Super Bowl ready, I think making a trade right here for Christian McCaffrey is just the piece we need to send us over the top offensively. I'll show you the final look team. We're going to upgrade players real quick. We have to cut a player as well. We'll just cut a bum. Because we have a good enough team to where we can cut the bums. We don't need them. This team is like a 90 overall at this point. It is a ridiculously high overall team. It says it's an 88. or an 87, but I feel like it's higher than that. I would be very surprised if it's not. But we got to cut a player. Let's Steven Russell, 78 speed, 51 blocking, tight end. Go on, get out of here, buddy. But let's check out the lineup for the final season now that we have Christian McCaffrey out here. Also going to have to adjust the lineup as well to get Christian McCaffrey out here. So the current backfield setup is Tajay Spears and Christian McCaffrey. We're going to have Evan Brackens, of course, quarterback. Receiver set all looks pretty good. Chigo Konkwo has stuck around the entire rebuild. He's been a foundational piece. He's gone from 71 to 80. But defensively, I think we look really good. I'm going to have to make some specialist adjustments once again. But I'm going to make those, and we are going to sim, and I'll see you at the midseason mark. All right, so update at the midseason mark. I'm going to go ahead and upgrade players here. We are 4-3. We're going up against the Falcons. We've had a tough schedule once again. That seems to be the trend, is that we just get tough schedules every single year, and we start out super, super slow, because we have started out pretty horribly. But we're going to check the midseason mark stats. I don't know what's really happened. If the defense has regressed, we'll swap around. Evan Brackens is just not putting up offensive numbers whatsoever. Christian McCaffrey is absolutely stealing the show. Quentin Johnston, he's putting up pretty good numbers. On the offensive line, Taylor Decker's let up 5 sacks. Our rookie right tackle has not let up a sack. So that is a huge upgrade from whoever we had there before. Terrence Steele. How could I forget? Nick Bosa has 8 tackles for loss. Jeffrey Simmons 6, and then Nolan Smith has 5. And then 10, 6, and 4.5 for the sack numbers. So that is beautiful. We have a few interceptions in there. So it seems like the defense is actually producing a little bit better than it was. I'm going to take a look at yards. Offensively, we're just not putting it together. I don't know if it's the opponents we're playing, but defensively, we have gotten better. We just got to figure out what's going on offensively. Like, something weird is up, and we're just not putting up numbers like we need to. Tim Curley is a superstar right tackle, by the way. I'm going to test something for this final season to where I just make the scheme fit the best, opposed to using like the Cowboys playbook, the Buccaneers playbook, whatever it is. We're going to change the scheme to whatever the best scheme fit is, and that's going to be at 65% for an air raid offense. So I don't really know a lot of air raid playbooks. I really don't. I feel like we would just probably leave it in the Cowboys playbook at that point, and I think that's what we're going to do. But we're going to go with air raid. Maybe that changes the aggressiveness of the offense. I don't know. Anything to potentially figure this team out and fix it, I am willing to do, because we should not be as bad as we are. I mean, we're 4-3, like we're above 500, but the problem is, which you probably can't totally see on my screen, is we're third in the division at 4-3. Like, we're above 500, but the Colts are 5-2 and the Texans are 5-2. We're playing not the Jaguars. We're playing the Falcons this week, and they are 5-2. So hopefully we can still win away here. I've swapped to the air raid system. I mean, we lost 28-27. You don't love to see that, and we're going up against the 7-2 Panthers. I'm just starting to think scheduling has just not been fair to us in this final season. I'm not going to go another year because, I mean, we're going to have players re-sign. We're not going to have money. And the video is going to be like 2 hours long at that point. But got the Panthers here, 7-2. Can we beat the Panthers and get up to 5-4? That'd be huge. We do. We beat the Panthers. We're up to 5-4. We're in contention for the division right now. Come on. Come on. 11-6. Show me the money. Let's go, baby. All right, we made the playoffs. As you can see, I'm quite excited about it because the season looked like it was going to fall apart, but it didn't fall apart. So that's a good thing, you know. We're going to go to the stats for the season. We're going to see how we did, because we had a turnaround, because we started off pretty horrible. We started off, like I said, pretty horrible. 4,000 yards, 20 touchdowns, 13 interceptions. Christian McCaffrey was the offense, to be honest. 1,600 yards and 20 touchdowns. I'm going to be honest, if we didn't make that McCaffrey McCaffrey trade, we probably would not be in the playoffs right now. Peter Skoronski let up a lot of sacks at left guard. The right tackle we drafted only let up 4 sacks. What a guy, honestly. Defensively, it's actually looking scary how well we did. 16 tackles for loss for Jeff Simmons and 13 for Nick Bosa. 20.5 sacks for Nick Bosa, 16 sacks for Jeff Simmons. Jonathan Neighbors had 2.5 sacks and 4 interceptions at the middle linebacker spot. Brian Branch had 2, and then we had a bunch of guys who just had 1 interception. Going over the forced fumbles, there was 1. It was Nick Bosa, of course, probably Defensive Player of the Year for like the 11th time. We were 4th in offensive yards, so that's pretty cool. And we were 2nd in defensive yards. The fact that we were only 11-6 kind of throws me for a whirl there. Not gonna lie, throws me a little bit for the whirl. Christian McCaffrey wins AFC Offensive Player of the Year. Defensive Player of the Year goes to TJ Watt. Yeah, I bet it does. It should have went to Nick Bosa. Get out of here, TJ. Offensive Rookie of the Year goes to a tight end. No, it was a quarterback. Never mind. It was the Pittsburgh quarterback that went to the Pittsburgh Steelers. How could I forget? Defensive Rookie of the Year is going to be Lamar Kramer, best quarterback. I don't expect to see a Bracken's appearance, but best running back, we did win that with Christian McCaffrey. Best receiver, I don't expect a Titan to be in here because we just didn't throw the ball, apparently. Offensive line, we have nobody in there. Best defensive line, we got Nick Bosa and we got Jeff Simmons, so we swept it once again. We don't have any best linebackers and we do not have any best DBs. So we are in the wild card right now and we are playing the Oakland Raiders. We're going to jump in. I'm not going to play the game, but we're going to jump in. We're going to watch it. Not the whole game. Don't click off the video now because you think I'm watching an entire playoff game. No, I am just going to simulate the game in like Simcast or whatever it's called. I don't know. It's something like that. Something of that nature. We do have a home playoff game because we did win the division, so that's always fun. Let's go ahead and hit the super sim right here. Jump to end the game, and it's going on fast. So we got a touchdown. They answered with a field goal. They're driving again. They're going to get another field goal, but we got another touchdown to go with it. They're driving. Not anymore. We're driving. Who's driving? 21-13, 21-21. It's coming down to the clutch. We're going to win it 24-21. That is what, our first playoff win in like 3 seasons. The first time we've been to the playoffs in like 3 seasons, it feels like. Evan Bracken's 246 yards and 3 touchdowns. How's that Desmond Ridder experiment working out for you, Raiders fans? Not as good as the Evan Bracken's experience in Tennessee, but we're going to go and simulate to the next round. I'm hoping our 95 overall quarterback, Evan Brackens, can lead us to a Super Bowl. That'd be the good stuff, honestly. Well, I'll jump in and play if I have to. I want this Super Bowl badly. All right, I want to win a Super Bowl in my first video on the second channel. And we're playing the Chiefs in Kansas City. We're going up against Patrick Mahomes. He did not rush for 2,000 yards, did he? That has to be bugged. That's got to be bugged. I'm going to be honest. I don't think there's a chance in hell Pat Mahomes rushed for 2,000 yards. But we're going to go and hop into this one as well. It's going to be the divisional matchup. And they are about the only team in the league that's probably going to be about the same overall as us because we have built such a stacked team. This is the Chiefs' kingdom. Don't care. Let's get out here. All right, so starting this one out, nobody's really getting on the board. We got on the board first. We're going to go up 14-0. We're driving again. We're going to make it 21-7. Keep applying pressure right here. 28-7. 28-14, 31-14. We are going to blow the Chiefs out in their own house. Arrowhead, such a hard environment to play in. I bet it is. We blow them out in their own house. 351 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 90% completion percentage. How many passes did he throw? 27 for 30. What did McCaffrey do? No, we just have the best quarterback in the league. Patrick Mahomes, you're washed. You're old. Get out of here. We're headed to the AFC Championship. All right, we've made it to the AFC Championship. Like I said, and we're going up against the Baltimore Ravens. We're running their defensive playbook. We're culture vultures, if you will. And it's apparently a blizzard here in Baltimore, so that's going to be fun. 89 overall to 87 overall for the Ravens. I'm hoping we can win this ball game. This doesn't look like a blizzard, I'm going to be honest. This looks pretty bright, sunshiny day, kind of like a Claritin commercial. I don't know where the snow is at. It said this was going to be a blizzard. It's looking pretty sunny. Pretty sunny outside today here in Baltimore. So that weatherman was full of shit. We're going to go ahead and simulate this game. Hopefully we can get on the board first. We do. 7-0. Come on, keep driving. We got to make something happen. And they're going to make something happen instead. It's going to be 7-14. When did we score? They're going to drive down the field. It's going to be 14-14. I'm going to slow this one down here. We are driving right here. You need to make something happen, Brackens. 6-yard reception to McCaffrey. Come on. 4-yard rush. 3rd and 1. Don't mess this up. 5-yard rush by a somewhat mobile quarterback. Sneaky athletic. We're going to go up on the scoreboard. You love to see it. 21-14. This is a playoff rivalry. Historically, the Titans and the Ravens, they play a lot in the postseason for some reason. But 19-yard pass to Mark Andrews is typically not a good look. Pass drop to Mark Andrews, we can live with that. 13 yards to Zay Flowers, it's not looking good. 9-yard reception. Oh yeah, we're getting carved up right now. Another 9-yard catch for them. Pass knocked away by Trenton Simpson. If you could get a pick right there, that'd be awesome. Luke Woody, the defensive tackle. He made a play. It's going to be a penalty on Brian Gooden, the Texas corner. But Nolan Smith's going to get a sack. Pass knocked away again. Incomplete pass is going to be 4th and 19. They have to go for it right here. 11-yard rush on 4th and 19 by Lamar Jackson. And I think I'm going to go ahead and cancel the sim. And, you know, we're going to hop into this one. I think this is the end of the ball game. Yep, it is. So actually, I'm going to go back to the sim, and we're just going to go ahead and sim out of here. 21-14, the Titans are headed to the Super Bowl. Evan Brackens didn't really put up the greatest day, 207 yards, no interceptions, no touchdowns, but Christian McCaffrey was all we needed on the offensive end with 3 touchdowns of his own. He was the production of the game. Christian McCaffrey seems like he was a pretty good trade, I'm not going to lie to you. So we're coming up against the Atlanta Falcons in the Super Bowl. This is running back on running back right here. Bijan Robinson versus Christian McCaffrey. Tim Curley gets upgraded since he was one of the better offensive linemen the entire season. One of my sneaky, best draft picks. But we're going to go and hop into the Super Bowl right here. I've been recording for 5 hours. If we could cap this thing off with a Super Bowl victory, oh boy, would I love that. This is something right here. We're going to go ahead and go to the sim, though. Not jump to next play. Actually, this kind of works a little bit better. So they are driving on us, which I don't love, and they are going to get into the end zone first. Hopefully, we can do something on offense. We busted out on that drive. The Falcons are kind of dominating us. They're going to kick a field goal right there. Hopefully, we can start to put something together in the second quarter. It's looking like we're going to. And we got a touchdown right there. That is beautiful. The Falcons are just a hard team to stop. They are going to punt it. We're going to get the ball back. If we can just start making some stuff happen, we're not going to as we punt it away there. And they are going to punt it right back to us. We're going to get the ball back in pretty rough field position, but it's looking like we're kind of making some things happen right here. Christian McCaffrey is toting the load for us at the moment. Incomplete pass. Don't love to see that. 14-yard reception for Traylon Burks. Come on, let's get a score right here before half. Quentin Johnston, 36-yard touchdown reception. I still can't believe the Chargers traded him to us. I'm not complaining, though. Not in the slightest. We're going to get the ball back right there. And it's going to be the second half. We get the ball in to start the second half. We're going to punt it away already. But we get it back, it seems. Christian McCaffrey, he's dealing right now. Hopefully, offense, we can just keep this thing rolling. 3rd and 16, that's not great. Quentin Johnston, 22-yard catch. He's been electric. 2nd and 10, it's a 15-yard penalty against the defense. We're on the 9-yard line. Let's go and punch this thing in. 21-10. Oh, man, how happy a Super Bowl would make me right now, other than the fact that Bijan Robinson has to lose for this to happen. Because hook 'em horns, I love my guy Bijan. want him to get a ring. Oh yeah, we're blowing the Falcons out right now. This is not going well for them. 35-10. This ball game is over. It's about as over gets. I'm gonna be honest. I wish Derrick Henry was here to see it. We tried to keep him around for the long haul, but he ended up calling it a career. 38 seconds, and this is gonna be the ball game. 38-17. Maybe they put a score on the board here. I doubt it. I really do doubt it. We're gonna go to the next play. We're gonna go to right here, and then we're gonna hop in right here because I want the animation. So I'm gonna jump in and we're going to kneel the football. I would like the Super Bowl animation. I don't know if we get it or not. I might have to kneel it 2 times because the Titans or the Falcons here are gonna want to try and get the ball back. Yeah, good use of your timeouts there, buddy. But yeah, Evan Brackens, Christian McCaffrey, the boys got it done. The Titans are Super Bowl champions. 5 seconds left in this one. The clock is just ticking away here in Tampa. And it's official. The 2029, 2028, I think this is 2028. Super Bowl champions are your Tennessee Titans. It took forever to make this happen. It really did. This was a hard rebuild. I'm going to be honest. Figuring out playbooks, and I think I kind of gathered it for future rebuilds. You want to do like best scheme fit and then best playbook mixture seems to be the best. And running back does seem very important, but we got it done. We drafted a potentially generational quarterback in the process. We drafted a freakish receiver in the process, an insane corner in the process. We spent a lot of money in this rebuild, getting Nick Bosa, getting AJ Terrell. We got some very expensive pieces, but there it is. Evan Brackens, the generational quarterback himself, hoisting the Lombardi. I don't know if he's generational. He might be. He might not be. He might have just been a highly generated superstar X Factor. But either way, we are Super Bowl champions. Your Super Bowl MVP, I'm going to take an assumption, was probably Evan Brackens. We'll sim to the recap. We'll go over that, and then we'll do the outro, all that fun stuff for you. But I want to see who the actual Super Bowl MVP was. I'm going to assume it was Evan Brackens with a 4-touchdown day and 350 yards. I don't even know if he may have ran for a touchdown. Look at that. It's my first Super Bowl in franchise. How about that? Bragging rights and everything. You love to see it. In an online league. Oh, nice. I didn't know this was an online league. So that's cool, I guess. But 2027 season recap. It was the 2027 season, so it only took, what, 4 seasons to do this? Is that correct? Quentin Johnston was your Super Bowl MVP for the Titans. The first Super Bowl for the Tennessee Titans. I said I was going to get it done. We got it done. Christian McCaffrey was needed to get it done. Derrick Henry, I wish you were here for this. I feel like he was in the locker room celebrating with the boys, though. But I appreciate you guys watching. I hope you enjoyed this rebuild. If you have any tips, any advice on how to make these more enjoyable, things that you'd like to see, teams you would like to see next, leave it in the comment section down below, especially if you made it all the way through this thing. This is going to be a long video, as all these rebuilds are. But seriously, I do appreciate you guys watching. I had a lot of fun doing this. Took me about 5.5 hours to record. I'm going to try and do these like 2 to 3 times a week, as well as my main franchise series and some NCAA stuff mixed in. So if that kind of thing does interest you, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Don't be a stranger to the like button either. But I appreciate you guys watching. Hope you have a wonderful day or night whenever I upload this. And I am out.